All right. So we are back. We are starting to do something new where we'll have one episode every week where we talk about where I talk about a specific topic, followed by a second episode where we have a conversation with either a guest or with Jenna, just to talk about different things in that subject. Okay. Last episode, I went through the anatomy of facial aging, how a facelift actually works structurally, who's a real candidate, and why the thing everyone's afraid of isn't really what modern surgery really is today, and what modern surgery can deliver. And today, Jenna and I want to get into that part and have more of a conversation about what that means for us and what that means for our patients. Talk about the fear, talk about the stigma, and what we're actually hearing from patients who have been sitting quietly on the sideline with this question. But before that, we also want to do something a little bit different. And we're going to introduce ourselves with the honest answer of what we honestly do for ourselves when it comes to aesthetics. So I'm Chris Lee, and I have fake teeth and I do Botox.
I'm Jenna Gomez, and I have breast implants. I've done filler. I've done Botox since I was probably 26 years old. What else?
I mean, we don't need we go way
Okay,
back.
what do I want? What are my wish list items?
This could take some time. But yeah, so
yeah.
that's a little bit about ourselves. When we have guests on, we'll have them do the same thing just so you have the honest take and you're getting the honest truth about us.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get started. So there have been a couple celebrities out in public recently. We've already talked about Kris Jenner. Now, ever since Kris Jenner, there have been a few more, including Denise Richards and even Rosie O'Donnell. Now, Denise Richards came out as saying that she was terrified of a facelift before because her face is her business. That's how she makes her money.
Understandable.
And I guess, does that resonate with people, or do you feel like that resonates with our patients?
Yeah, absolutely. Even when I'm thinking about doing something to my face, I'm scared. I had a rhinoplasty.
Oh, yes. Well, you had a traumatic
I had
injury.
trauma to my nose. I broke it. He doesn't believe this. It doesn't matter. He's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I have photos.
For all the listener out there, she says that her nose was underneath her eye.
I'm a hustler on the basketball court
Whatever
and
that
in life.
means.
Okay. And I was diving for a ball, and the girl's shoulder, we collided, and my nose was like right underneath my eye. So my parents, this could be in a whole podcast, but essentially they hammered it literally while I was awake. And so then I had a massive hump. And then when I finally got my rhinoplasty, my nose was shattered into 20 pieces. So surgery took 3 hours. I digress.
She's like, What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Let's go back to me.
So yeah, we have a lot of celebrities that are finally quiet, and a bunch of celebrities, she said, that after she came out with it, were quietly admitting to her that they had already had their facelifts. And it's an interesting sort of, obviously we always look at these people as particularly celebrities and we're we always wonder, but it's interesting that even in that public eye, or it's not just the public, or it's not just us that's scared. It's everyone is scared. Even the people who have access to, the $300,000 facelift.
Yeah.
So it's
and nobody wants to talk about what they do. Nobody wants to say that they get Botox as if it's not cool to do. It's actually not cool to
hold it back.
Yeah.
And in a sense, and I say this all the time, it's the problem is not there are people who, bash on plastic surgery because they feel like it's not letting people, it's fake. It's not letting people be who they are, age gracefully, which honestly, I think is a complete bullshit thing to say.
Aging gracefully actually is taking care of yourself, good skincare routine, Botox.
But it's all those things that make people scared to do some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And Rosie O'Donnell is a perfect example of this, because forever she went on the record multiple times when she was in her heyday and in the public eye as saying that she would never get a facelift. She would never get a facelift. And she made people feel bad about getting facelifts back then. Yeah. But then she just came out, I think last week.
Yeah,
that she had a facelift.
Right.
And I think that was probably hard for her to get to, having been so public about it in the past. But it's always, and this happens all the time. And I see young celebrities talk about it too. And it's you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you know
right.
about aging gracefully?
Right.
You don't know until you're looking in the mirror.
You have absolutely no idea.
And you're coming to terms with how your body, your face, and everything is changing. And it's really shitty when people are just judging others. For what they do.
Absolutely.
And I think that affects, especially in the Northeast. I don't feel like it's quite the same in California. And I don't know if you feel the same, but there are certain parts of the country where it's a lot more socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone wants to look natural. Well, most people want to look natural, But I do feel like there's something about the Northeast that keeps us very quiet.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to say anything. They want like they'll lie.
No one wants people to know.
Yeah.
I like,
And it does, I mean, there's and then, like, social media has such a big presence, everyone's thinking like, "Oh, I can just look like that." But
yeah,
all these people that look like that, they're not they're doing stuff.
yeah,
They
exactly.
just don't want people to know about it.
Yeah. I guess that gets to the next point is the stigma around facelift surgery getting better? Like, do we feel like the stigma is
I think
lifting at
so.
all?
I think so. I mean, now that, like, the Kylie what's her name? Chris came
Chris
out,
Jenner.
and people are talking about it more, I think it is and there's a new, procedure or there's new ways to do things than it was back in the day. I think people are nervous, obviously, because it's your face and you mess up a nerve or something and,
Yeah.
so it is risky, but even
Yeah.
more important to choose your surgeon wisely.
Right.
But I do think it is, I'm seeing more women coming in, and most people at their times they're like embarrassed to say that, or like, I'm a little too, I'm old, or should I do this for myself, or I've had kids, am I making this about me? I think people were coming around to it a little bit.
Yeah.
I
I
think.
and I think, it is certainly in the grand scheme of like the nation, it is becoming more of a status symbol and someone who can do it versus someone who will do it. Obviously, we aren't getting those people yet. At
Yeah,
least in our, we have very run of the mill people. Like
yeah,
our patients are fantastic, but they're not, and generally,
dropping
we're
a
not
hundred.
getting
Yeah,
celebrities who are dropping $300,000 on a
yeah.
facelift. I mean,
Although we
maybe
do
someday.
offer patient financing, 0% interest for a year.
Yeah, there you go. But I think that is part of it. I think how people are aging is becoming a status symbol.
Absolutely. Because even my mom was thinking about doing her jowls years ago, but then she's like, "No, I don't know that I don't, I'll just age how I am, and I don't want to spend money on something like that." But I'm
Yeah.
like, You're going to be happy." I don't know. It's their
And then
subject.
and then when it comes to age, do we feel like I feel like there's almost this sort of right now, there's this sort of I don't know what the right word is, but a bimodal sort of distribution. So I feel like there's a group of millennials
Yeah.
that are super comfortable with plastic surgery. And then there's sort of Gen
Oh,
X
yeah.
who are a little bit more wary. And I think a lot of that has to do because Gen X grew up in a time where facial plastic surgery gave you that windswept look.
Yeah.
And I think every Gen X person who comes in, and even boomers who come
Hmm.
in, they tend to associate that look with a facelift.
Totally.
And they're the ones that we have to convince the most. Millennials, because we grew up around the internet, we grew up around a lot of celebrity gossip, are so much more comfortable with even
Absolutely.
thinking. There's
Yeah.
there's so many millennials that will come to me and be like, I need a facelift. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's
Yeah.
let's take a step back. I
Yeah.
mean, could we do a facelift? Yes. But I always have to have that risk reward
Yeah.
conversation with them because there's a lot of people who, and maybe some people would do a facelift on these people. And I think as newer techniques come along, like the ponytail facelift and endoscopic facelift, I do think that the risk comes down a bit. And when we're not looking for huge results, but just improvements,
Yeah. Like an
um,
enhancement.
an
Hmm.
enhancement it's not gonna be, as drastic as a full facelift. I think, that's going to include a lot more of that younger crowd,
Yeah.
for better or worse. But, I certainly get a lot of millennials that want a facelift before I think they're ready.
Yeah. Well, so I've always believed in, I mean, I was the first of my friends. I was the first getting Botox. I mean, I actually kept it hush hush when I was 28. But I mean, people are constantly now think, "Oh my God, you look so young. You look so young." But I mean, I'd like to say it's my skincare, but it's because I started early. So I would like to be your first ponytail because I mean, I'm 40, but I think that I would like to get ahead of it. Just
Yeah.
a little quick little tug,
And just so
just
yeah.
preserve.
Yeah. Well, I didn't talk much about ponytail facelift in the last
Mm.
discussion, but what a ponytail facelift is essentially you're going through the hairline to do a brow lift and a mid facelift with endoscopic equipment. So a camera, a light source, and small tools that let us kind of work in a tunnel to pull up and resuspend some of these things in less invasive, fewer external incisions. So it's kind of cool. And I think it is definitely the future for younger facelifts. It's not going to change. It's not going to change like those people with the big turkey necks.
Yeah.
Those still are going to be full facelifts,
Yeah.
but it does give options for people who just have slight jowling, need a little bit of their mid face
Yeah.
repositioned and bring their eyebrows up. So
Yeah.
it's a fun,
I think you stay ahead of it,
yeah,
people.
foray in the future.
Hmm.
So we're excited about that.
Yeah,
And that's probably what a lot of the younger celebrities have been.
definitely.
So the Lindsay Lohans and all these who obviously don't want to have the stigmata of scars for facelift, but want the benefits. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
What are patients actually saying to you when they call about facelifts, and what fears are they talking to you about their fears? Are they talking about their reservations?
So I've actually recently we've gotten more men
Yeah,
calling for
that's true. Yeah, I
facelifts.
have had a lot more men.
A lot more men. They age faster and worse. um,
There's a lot of people who say men age better.
who I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe at least in these few instances, they were applying for jobs and they wanted to look younger. They're competing with a different audience.
Yeah, I do get that a lot. I get that a lot with
Yeah,
men and women, but yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know why. What do you think?
Well, it's funny. You bring up a good point. I never thought of plastic surgery for work purposes,
Mm-hmm.
but that's come up more than once
Yeah,
for me. And it is an interesting,
ageism.
yeah.
Mhm.
Ageism is apparently very real.
Yeah,
And I have gotten that a lot. It's something that I'd never expected to hear.
me either. I
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And I don't know if
but it makes
that's
sense.
unique to our time or if that was always the case, but I don't really think it was always the case.
No, I don't think no.
But ageism has gotten worse, I suppose, and I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't know either, actually. Well,
Hmm.
maybe because life is so expensive, so you need to work longer.
That is true. Yeah, retirement age is getting higher
Yeah.
and higher, so who knows what will happen with that. But anyway, so, I think all those things are true. I think the one thing that I always hear on the chair is, I don't wanna look fake. I
Mm.
don't wanna look crazy.
Or
I
like
don't wanna look
surprised.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think,
wanna look
well, that's when people say like a facelift, people think that you're like,
yeah, I don't wanna look like a joker.
right,
Yeah,
or
and
like totally different from myself. But
yeah,
that's not the purpose of having a good plastic surgeon is to make you age, gracefully and
yeah,
hide it.
exactly,
Nobody really
exactly.
knows.
Now, when people call, do you hear something different from people in their 40s versus people in their 60s or 70s?
So between like 38 to 42, I think that's when we start as women, things are starting to change.
I'm 38. Fuck.
I'm 40. Fuck.
We'll do each other's face.
Okay.
No.
But I think women are starting, I don't know, because there is this population of women who care, who like don't think of plastic surgery as being fake and who are open to it. So I think those, like that set of women, or group of women are they want like something preventative.
Mhm.
So they want something at like 40, 45, and then again at like 60. So not having their first one at 60. By 60, I feel like at least there's a lot more work that needs to be done. You tell me, but like,
Yeah, I think I definitely think that the severity of the problem is different. Obviously, I think in people's 60s, their skin has changed,
yeah,
so that has to be much more of a conversation how to make that skin better before, during, and after a facelift. People in their late 30s and early 40s or late 40s tend to have better skin
yeah.
for a couple reasons. One, while some were, but most of us when we were younger were not, baking in the sun.
Well, I was on the roof with baby oil.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of
But
us.
black don't crack.
Yeah.
And like I'm half, so
Yeah.
like half of me is not cracked.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do think that's always in the conversation because I deal with a lot of fair skin. I have a lot of fair skin patients who, have genetics to have poor collagen in their skin anyway.
Yeah.
And then they also baked in the sun,
Right.
never wore sunscreen growing up, never wore sunscreen in their 20s, 30s. At least we learned at some point, like in our
Yeah.
teens, that like, okay,
We gotta
we actually got to take care of this shit or else we're going to look like, grandma. So I think that's the biggest difference between the conversations that I have.
Yeah.
Obviously severity, but also the addition of your skin is not the same as it used to be. And
Right.
it's not going to respond as well
Right.
as it would have in your 40s.
Right.
And in some ways, that pushes you more to have that preventative stuff done earlier
Mm-hmm.
because your skin will respond a little better.
Yeah. And so our results lasting. So if I were to get like the little ponytail
Yeah.
now or like 45, is that going to prolong when I have to get the next like a facelift?
Ideally, it should still take, 10 to 15 years off your face.
Yeah.
It'll reposition things in a way that should reset the clock. Now, there have been studies done on ponytail facelifts that suggest that the longevity of them is the same as a regular facelift. I think as more and more people start to do these things, I think that will really suss itself out and we'll figure out more exactly what that means. But it will be interesting to see as that sort of spreads a little bit. What do you think surprises patients most about coming in when they have their consultation for the facelift?
So we've had, not that they're in denial, but they're just not they just don't understand, which is fine because you're coming to an expert. That's why you're here. But maybe hoping for just, maybe I just need a little liposuction in my neck, and not realizing that there are so many things that like are underneath the skin, like the platysma bands. And so coming in for liposuction of the neck and getting quoted for a facelift and neck lift.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or thinking Botox can fix
it.
the fine lines
Yeah.
around their mouth, but no, really, it's you have to replace.
Yeah, I get that a lot. And, I don't know if it's our patient population or whatever, but a lot of people do want to have that easier fix.
Yeah,
And
everybody does.
that's the conversation that I'm having with a lot of people. It's funny because the 40-year-olds will come in and like, I want a facelift.
Yeah,
And I'm like, let's do the easier fix first.
and then the 6-year-olds are like,
I just want
just
a
like a
little
little
bit
neurotoxin.
of fix that, right? You
Yeah.
can do like Botox, never like a facelift, right?
Exactly.
And it's funny, and you always get I just want this.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like just a little. And for the listener, I'm just pulling back my skin a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you just do this but without any scars? I'm
Right.
like,
Right. Or do you have any non-invasive things for the fat in my neck?
yeah, yeah. It's like
Like,
this.
you got to be invasive.
It's interesting how people work that out in their brains and are still disappointed when I tell them the truth and what I think. And it's almost both people are disappointed.
Yeah.
Like the 40-year-olds
Yeah.
are mad that
Yes.
I'm not ready to give them a
You
facelift.
can't win.
And the 60-year-olds are mad that I'm like, you need a facelift.
Right.
It's really kind of interesting.
It is interesting.
Can't make anyone happy, really.
You can't win.
It's a tough business. So
Okay, so I have a few questions for you, Dr. Lee.
Yeah.
So when a patient sits down, and they say that they don't want to look fake, how do you?
what I really say is
Fine.
I literally do not know how to make you look fake. Like not with a facelift. Certainly with filler, I can make you look fake. I can pump up the filler and I can give you pillow face. I can blow up the tissue to make you look fake. But with a facelift, the way modern techniques of facelift work, I honestly do not know how to make people look fake. I don't like it.
It's weird though. I've seen bad facelifts.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck are they doing?
So with those facelifts, they're typically skin-only facelifts that aren't really done anymore. Almost everyone is doing either a high smash, a smash, or a deep plane facelift, which we
Okay.
talked about in the last episode. And all those will give very good results that should look natural. I suppose if someone does those and then pulls the skin too hard, that might look fake.
Yeah.
If someone's doing filler alongside of a facelift, obviously that can look fake. Not to say that you can't use filler, but you have to use it judiciously. So yeah, I that is my honest truth. I do not, the way I do facelifts, I don't know how someone makes you look fake because
Well, I guess you could mess up the eyes
you could,
or like the brows and
you
make
could
it look.
but in the way that people are saying, like, because I don't do skin only facelifts, I'm not pulling. And it's also, I guess, the vector that so vector being the direction that I'm pulling everything up. I think that's changed over time, which has helped because instead of pulling back, we're sort of doing a diagonal up towards the hairline, which I think has made a big difference. So it gives you a slight smile as opposed to the Joker face.
Oh, I like that.
So, anyone who's watching on, this is the Joker. This is the direction of a deep plane or a high smash.
Yeah, like that.
So that I think is the biggest difference because it doesn't give you that wide mouth. That I think is the biggest tell of a bad facelift.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so a lot of patients, they come in and they're like, okay, I went down a dark hole and I started Googling things. What do you think, or what do you wish patients wouldn't research or Google?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with people, doing research and all that stuff. The problem is that doing research today I saw this on TikTok
Right.
or
Chat?
social media said so. Honestly, like if you go on ChatGPT
I love chat.
or Claude, you'll get more information that would be helpful. Understanding that information is where I come in.
Yeah.
I'm fine if you want to like do some initial research, but it should actually be research and not just something you saw someone say somewhere.
Right.
And I talk about this in a previous episode about how social media and doctors on social media can be very misleading to push their own agenda, which I also think is bullshit. So you just got to really be careful with social media, which today, unfortunately, is how a lot of people get information.
Because also your algorithm. So like if I start thinking about something, I swear, I'm only going to get stuff on my feed about this. So
that reinforces
Exactly.
your already held bias.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I think you really got to be careful with that stuff. So
Yeah. So are there any questions that you wish people would ask or wish people looked into?
Mm.
Anything that they're not?
Yeah, I mean, the things I wish people would look into a little bit more is, I guess, coming to me with some sense of what a facelift can do, what filler can do, before I have to disappoint them. I like that's really it. I don't there's nothing that I wish someone knew before seeing me, because my job is to get you up to speed regardless of where you're at.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything that you can think of that you wish someone knew before
Hmm.
coming in?
Dang. I have to think about that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good, yeah.
I can't really think of something that I wish they knew. Because, I guess what's something that I wish more patients understood that nobody seems to is exactly that. I wish people understood the benefits, or the difference between looking fake from filler and looking fake from a facelift, and how that's kind of played on their psyche, and to know sort of what is possible and what is not with each.
Yeah.
But again, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
We're
Expert.
we're here to teach
Mhm.
and get you up to speed. But yeah, that's I think really it, because that's a majority of the conversations that I have are just explaining what is possible, what is not,
Yeah.
what you need versus what you want,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So speaking of that, have you ever had to tell somebody that like it's too soon, you have to wait,
Oh,
or like no,
absolutely,
you're not ready for this?
absolutely. I say that probably more than
Outside of me, because you tell me
yeah,
no every
yeah.
day.
If I said yes to her for one thing, then it's everything. So yeah, that's a really dark hole to go down, and I'm just
That's
not
the next episode.
not mentally prepared for that.
Ever.
It'll never stop. It'll never stop. So, we'll
So who else do you tell no
yeah, yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah.
Let's loop back
No.
around.
So I do say no to lots of patients, and it tends to be, and I'll say it for both things. Like, there are people who come to me who aren't ready for a facelift, and I'm like, why don't we start with filler, or why don't we start with something? And once we get to a point where that's just not going to be enough, then we can talk about facelift. And then there are people who will come to me for filler, and I'll be like, you really need a facelift. If I start filler on you, it might help a little bit, but it's really not gonna
Yeah.
do the trick. So I honestly say no to in both ways, because at the end of the day, I do not want you wasting your money on something that's not gonna make you happy.
Right.
And if you pull your face up and you're like, this is what I want, I 100% will tell you filler will not get you that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great in our consults that you do. I mean, I appreciate this about you. When people are not ready for it, you're like, no, you don't need this. Or like this, I know you came in here for this, but this is not going to be the right procedure for you. I think that's people lie to try to just make a buck. So I think it's great that you
Yeah.
are honestly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's really important for me. At the end of the day, I'm not doing anyone a service or I'm not helping someone if I just sell them something that I know I can do.
Yeah.
And that's not how I operate, because everyone who's in front of me I consider, I look at them as if they're my family, and what would
Yeah.
I tell my family to do, and what would I tell my family not to do? Because otherwise you end up with an unhappy patient, and an unhappy patient makes an unhappy Chris.
And unhappy Chris.
Makes an unhappy
Me.
Jenna. So, it's not worth my mental fortitude to fuck around in that way. So that kind of brings me to the next thing, which is, honestly, you have to start at some point thinking about the math when it comes to filler and when it comes to facelifts and everything in between, because filler is not cheap.
No.
And, at some point, filler is, over the years, is going to start to cost as much as a facelift. So,
Yeah.
you could easily spend, 2,000 to,
Every visit.
yeah, $4,000, $5,000 on filler and injectables and skincare and things like that all alone. And you do that over 5 to 10 years, and you're well above what a facelift would.
Cost.
So you really have to start thinking in that sense of like longevity. And when a
Mm-hmm.
facelift will last you, 10, 15 years, or reset the clock, what are you really trying to achieve? And what are you willing to spend? And, is filler going to get you happy?
Right.
And the money, it's not
Right.
cheap. Well, it's like cheaper at the one-time sitting. Is it going to get you where you want to be? And if that's not the case,
You'd say fat transfer instead of the filler to the face? What would you say?
fat transfer does have its place, and I really like fat transfer. For certain things, certainly like under the eyes,
Mm.
for hollowness under the eyes, hollowness in the temples.
So what would you say replaces the filler that people are, you're saying the facelift?
So if someone's ready for a facelift, so that's the calculation, right? Facelift isn't going to be anywhere from 25 to $35,000 depending on what you need.
Yeah.
at least in our hands. And filler,
Oh, you're
over the
so they're
years.
trying to plump their skin so it doesn't look as opposed to
Yeah,
cutting it
yeah,
and making it.
exactly.
Okay, good.
They're
Yeah.
trying to achieve, people who are trying to achieve that youth through filler
I know.
for so many years are going to end up
Yeah.
spending more than it would have been to just get a
Yeah.
facelift in the first place. So,
100.
that's just something that you got to think about when you're spending money on anything that you're doing.
Mhm.
Now, there's always upkeep and things like that. Keeping your skin healthy with lasers and peels and things, I think is always important. But those are things that you do every other year or so, and much less expensive than
And
doing
having a
filler
good
every year.
retinol
Yep, of
to
course,
take care of the
skincare.
yes,
Yep.
integrity of your skin.
And, you have to really decide at what point does that math start to,
Mm.
really affect your pocket. And is it worth, at some point, the facelift is really the economical option.
Right.
So now there are plenty of people who I take care of. And I don't know if this is a Northeast thing or my patient thing, but they are just so averse to scars and
Yeah.
facelifts, and they're scared
We
of,
call them incision lines.
yes,
They're not
incision
scars.
lines.
Scars, you go to
Yes,
the
yes,
ER,
yeah,
you hurt yourself.
yeah.
Incision lines.
Yeah, yeah. And that's fine. And I get that. And you do have to, sometimes, a lot of times it's just working with those patients until they're ready
Yeah.
and trying to give them at least something that makes them happy until that point. But
But I like how you say you're like, would you rather have, the incision line or would you rather have this like sagging, like what's
yeah,
is more important?
yeah. And it's, if someone wants to do less than what I say, I always tell them exactly what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
So what the outcome will be and how it'll be less than what a facelift would be. And that's super important for them
Mhm.
to understand before going into anything. Because if they don't get that and then you start doing something, then
Yeah.
you got to really manage those
Yeah.
expectations. That is
Okay.
like expectations are everything in our industry. And my goal with every consult that I do is to correctly manage someone's expectations for what they're going to get,
Yeah.
always trying to under promise and over.
Yeah. Definitely. Because even if you tell them, sometimes they don't hear it.
They don't
So you
hear it.
have to like reiterate. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
And if
sure.
someone does less than what I really recommend, I will say that over and over and
Mhm.
over again, at the consult, at the pre-op, at the day of surgery, because otherwise, they forget,
Yeah.
you know.
As soon
So.
as they leave.
All right. So let's get to ask me honestly questions. All right. I am 44 and starting to see jowling. Is it too early to even talk about a facelift? Well, there you go.
No.
There's the answer. No, it's not. I mean, will I offer it to you? I don't know. I think certainly if you have jowling, that's when you start really thinking about a facelift. You will start to see descent of the mid face,
Mhm.
causing some nasal labial fold, deepening. That is something that we can fix with a facelift. Obviously, if you have neck issues, neck is probably, I would say, when we do a full facelift, I would say the neck is what certainly is the most drastic change
Yeah.
from pre
Oh,
to
yeah.
post op. Everything else is much more subtle, much more natural. I mean, not that the neck isn't natural, but it's much more subtle than the neck. The
Yeah.
neck is like,
Yeah.
but everything else, it's just like you just
Yeah.
look nicer.
Right.
It's
I
nothing crazy, but you just look nicer.
And I think people should around 40, 44. If you start to see change, you should try to see what's going on because maybe you don't need as drastic as you will if you just waited. I mean, if you decided to wait, like
Yeah.
maybe you could get, maybe buccal fat or
Yeah.
fat transfer under your eyes, like just, or blepharoplasty. Like, so you're just kind of slowly doing things. So it's not all at once, a big facelift.
And to be honest, everyone's going to be different. So if one person's 44 is not going to be another person's
Right.
44. And you got to figure out what's right for you. And the only real way to do that is with a consultation.
Right. And there's no pressure to book surgery.
Yeah.
Like it's
Never.
just a conversation.
Just a conversation,
Mhm.
just talk to you. And the benefit of going to a plastic surgeon versus going to a med spa is that we can give you all of the options. They can give you only what they can do,
Right.
which is minimal.
Yeah. And our med spas, are you even meeting with a surgeon or a doctor?
No,
Yeah. So
never.
yeah, you're just
Name one med spa where you,
yeah.
yeah, never. So, I mean, unless that med spa is associated with a surgeon, great. But that's the difference between going to somewhere that has a surgeon versus someone that doesn't. If
Yeah.
they can't offer you everything, they're going to sell you what they have.
Right.
So.
Right. That's a good point.
All right. I've been getting filler for years and my doctor keeps adding more. At what point is filler making things worse, not better?
It's a good question.
Yeah. So, I think this is a very slippery slope. Filler, I think you really have to trust your instinct on this. If something starts looking not like yourself, then there's probably something wrong. And I will say we have plenty of patients who have gone to other injectors and have come to us at some point and they think that they look great.
Yeah.
And there are certainly times where we're like, honey,
Yeah. Like it's
let's,
migrating. The
yeah,
filler's migrating
your
or
lips are
yeah.
insane or your cheeks are just way too
Yeah.
puffy.
That
And
actually happened to me. I was trying to I had like hollowness in my eyes and I was trying to they were trying to fix that, not here, but years ago. And so they were putting filler under my eyes, but it was making this part of my cheeks like very puffy. And so ended up like just dissolving it. So that in that case, like too much filler is makes you look worse.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I found.
and you got to really be careful with that because it is funny how small changes over time people don't notice as much.
Right.
And people will see. I think the risk is that you try to fix something and doesn't get fixed, and then you try and fix it more with the same thing, and
Yeah.
more with the same thing, and
Right.
more with
It's
the same
just and
thing,
like boom.
and yeah, and it just gets worse and worse.
Hmm.
And you're not seeing the problem, the real problem.
Right.
So yeah, I think you got to trust your instinct, trust your friends because your friends have already told you,
Yeah.
or they're thinking it, right? Like
If they're good friends,
if
they've
they're good friends, if
said
they're
something.
honest friends, they have thought it and they will tell, hopefully, if you ask them to tell you honestly,
Right.
then hopefully they'll tell you. And if they won't, I will.
Yeah.
You always have me. Send in your pictures. Yeah. All right. How do I know if a surgeon is actually good at this beyond board certification? That's a great question.
Very good question.
I think, obviously board certification, super important. Looking at before and afters to see what their aesthetic is, what they're going to give you, obviously their best before and afters. The best before and afters will tell you what they think it looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also you remember we had that patient, you need to see before and afters, like after, not just on the table, like
Mhm.
a year out.
Yes,
Or they're
absolutely. You need to see long-term before and afters to see how their work holds up, not just 3 months. You need to see sort of, yeah, know exactly what the patient has had, I think. And then on top of that, you need to feel comfortable. Like, does this person treat you like run of the mill? Do they take their time to actually analyze your face?
yeah.
Do they give you one sort of rote answer that you feel like they gave everyone, or do they give you something specifically tailored to you? Can they explain the difference between deep plane and SMAS and why you should get one or the other? All those things are important. And do you trust the person?
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you think there's anything else?
No, I mean, just looking at, like, I mean, the reviews are huge, but yeah, again, the before and afters.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I get fooled with AI all the time. Like my daughter's like, Mom, that's AI. And I'm like, how do you know that? And she's like, how do you not know
Yeah.
that? So I
Yeah.
actually can't answer that question because I get
Yeah.
fooled.
Yeah.
So to help the people.
So, AI, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. The other thing, social media is great to learn about someone's personality, learn about or learn about what their aesthetic is, but don't just trust that. Like
Yeah.
social
Right.
media is great for a lot of things and bad for a lot of things. It is a bad way to only pick
Like
a
the
surgeon.
only source.
Yeah, be the
Yeah.
only source of how you pick a surgeon. We just had someone the other day, as you alluded to, that went to a surgeon who they said they picked because their social media looked so great, and
Out of the country.
they got hacked up and they looked terrible, and they're coming to me to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I asked was, did you see anything other than on the table post-op results? And they were like,
Never thought of that.
no. I was like, well,
Now you know.
now you know why. If you're not seeing anything, and listen, I get why on the table results happen. It's because it's the easiest time to get a before and after, and I do it all the time. But I also have, long-term results, and there's plenty of before and afters that I have available that
Yeah.
I put out to the public and are on our website and things like that. So, you gotta think of the full picture. All right, last question. My husband wants a facelift, but is embarrassed to admit it. Is this common? And is the procedure different for men?
So if this were my husband, I would love him to death because I would be tired of I'm constantly keeping myself up. So like, why don't you care about yourself and keep yourself up? Now I don't have a husband, so I don't have to worry about that. But I think that we haven't had we haven't had that. Like
Um,
men being embarrassed.
by the time they get to us, they've already gotten over that. Most
Yeah.
of the men that get to us aren't embarrassed by the time they get to us. In general, they're pretty confident about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess this would be a better, you might have a better idea. But as far as beyond the embarrassment, I don't think it's embarrassment actually is specific to men or
No, I don't. I was gonna say, yeah, it's like everybody
honestly,
feels.
I think that I've had more women embarrassed
Yeah,
to
men are
come
more
in.
like,
Men, by the time they
yeah,
come to me, already know what they want.
right, confident with their.
And they are confident with their decision.
Yeah,
Women are like, I can't even believe I'm asking this.
I know we
Like,
second
I
guess
just,
ourselves. Do we
yeah.
deserve it? Do we?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
it's
get that a lot.
expensive.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And men are much more, I'm ready, let's book it.
Yeah.
As far as the procedure is different. It's not like particularly different in men. Men tend to bleed more. So it's a
Oh,
little
I
bit more
didn't know that.
challenging in that sense.
Mhm.
Men's facial structures seem a little heavier. So it can be harder to correct some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Depending on their hairline and if they have sideburns and all
Yeah.
this stuff, that all makes a difference because it depends on how I can pull where I would place their incisions
Yeah.
and things like that. So in that sense, yes, it's different, but it's not the essence of the procedure is pretty much the same.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone should be embarrassed. I mean, I guess aging happens. And
Hmm.
if you want to keep up with yourself, then do it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So this kind of brings us to the final question. Like, what would you tell a 45-year-old who's been quietly thinking about this for years and hasn't told anyone?
I would say that just give us a call. Let's have a conversation about it. We can keep it a secret. We can keep it hush hush. There's like a lot of stuff.
We can because we're legally bound to. That-
Obviously, not
Continue.
honestly, obviously. But yeah, we can have a conversation about it. You don't have to make any decisions. I love, walking a patient through from the start when they're so nervous and then to see them, shoulders back and confident leaving. But I would say just come in and let's have a conversation about it because there's nothing that you can, nothing, we've heard it all. And there's nothing you can say. And, you're not the only one thinking about it. So don't be shy.
Yeah. And what I would tell them is, if they have the stigmata of facial aging and things that can be fixed with surgery, to do it early is going to be better for them as they have better tissue.
Mm.
Their skin has better collagen, better elastin, and it's better to do this stuff early and get a great result and heal up and go on your way than it is to wait and, need a more extensive surgery, more risk, more health risk. So,
And just get the information. Ask your questions, get the information.
and I think the most important thing to remember is there's so many people who, after they've done the surgery, are like,
Yeah.
I really wish I did this sooner.
Mhm. Yeah.
That happens a lot
Hmm.
in all sorts of surgery, but particularly this stuff.
But if you're thinking about it, I mean, there's no harm in talking. So
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
All right. Well, that's all we have for today. It's been fun.
So much
So
fun.
much fun.
You learned a lot. I lied. I have done nothing.
I've done nothing.
These are
Never,
mine.
ever. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Feel free to subscribe, comment, ask us questions, send us DMs on our Instagram, Honestly Pod. We're really looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you
Thank
to the
you.
one listener that we have.
Yay.
And we can't wait to talk to you very soon.